7 Grammys, endorsements from Herbie Hancock, Quincy Jones, and Hans Zimmer, all built from a single bedroom in North London. Jacob Collier didn't just learn music, he seemed to hear things other musicians couldn't. But just how good is he actually? The answer begins with a 3-year-old at a piano and a mother who taught him not how to play, but how to listen. In a small North London home, instruments crowded every corner: piano, cello, double bass, a drum kit, even the occasional baritone saxophone. The air was thick with sound, scales drifting from the living room, violin etudes echoing down the hall, and the gentle click of a metronome marking time. Jacob Collier was born here in August 1994, the eldest of 3, into a family where music wasn't just a hobby, it was the language of daily life. His mother, Susan Collier, taught violin at the Royal Academy of Music. She believed in teaching children to listen, not just to play. Instead of scales and drills, she would pause mid-phrase and ask Jacob, "What colour do you hear?" The family rehearsed together, but not in the strict sense. Conversations flowed from dinner table to piano bench, each person suggesting new chords or rhythms, as if harmony was something you could pass around and taste. Jacob's grandparents, both professional violinists, brought the standards of orchestral performance, but at home, rules were more flexible. Instruments swapped hands. Curiosity was encouraged. By age 3, Jacob was exploring the piano. By 6, he was layering his own voice on a tape recorder, fascinated by how sounds could stack and blend. The living room became his playground, a place where he could move from drum kit to keyboard, inventing textures, pulling apart melodies, and putting them back together in ways that felt new. In this environment, music was not just heard, it was experienced, questioned, and reimagined. And it was here, in these everyday moments, that Jacob Collier's extraordinary ear began to take shape. Jacob Collier's curiosity never stayed in one place for long. By the time most kids were learning their first scales, Jacob was already reaching for the tape recorder. At 6 years old, he began layering his own voice and simple keyboard lines, fascinated by the way sounds could blend and bounce off each other. He'd record a melody, rewind, and sing a new part on top, sometimes stacking 3, 4, even 5 layers before the tape hiss took over. Mistakes were not erased. They became new ideas. The living room became a workshop for these sonic experiments, where rules were more like suggestions. When he turned 10, Jacob entered the Purcell School for Young Musicians. Surrounded by classmates who practiced concertos for hours, he found himself drawn just as much to the school's jazz ensemble and the possibilities of improvisation. He'd rush home, eager to try out fresh voicings on the family piano, or to see how a borrowed cello might fit into a homemade arrangement. By 15, the family iMac and GarageBand had replaced the old tape recorder. Jacob dove into digital multi-tracking, recording a cappella harmonies, layering beats, and experimenting with effects that made his bedroom sound like a miniature studio. He wasn't just playing instruments, he was building entire worlds from scratch. Each new tool opened a door: GarageBand's loops, the Casio's quirky presets, the endless combinations of voice and rhythm. Friends from the neighborhood joined in, recording jam sessions that Jacob would splice and rearrange late into the night. These early experiments were not about perfection. They were about discovery, about hearing what happened when you broke things apart and put them back together in a way nobody expected. And with each layer, Jacob's musical imagination kept expanding, quietly setting the stage for something much bigger. Except every instrument, every voice, every sound comes from just one person. In his early viral arrangements, Collier did not just sing the melody or play a few chords. He built entire sonic worlds, one track at a time. Take his cover of Don't Stop Me Now. The session file shows more than 34 separate vocal tracks, each one carefully stacked, panned, and tuned. He started with a simple click track, then layered a bass vocal, then a second, then a third, each part recorded solo, then grouped into buses for tight control over blend and balance. The process was relentless. Collier would lay down the foundation, bass, drums, a core 4-part harmony, then double each line in octaves, add inner voices, and sprinkle in microtonal bends that twist the chords in ways most ears do not expect. He used Ableton Live's session view to loop sections, recording each new idea as a separate stem. By the time he reached the chorus, the arrangement had grown into a dense forest of sound, every harmony, every rhythmic accent mapped out and color-coded in his digital audio workstation. Isolated stems reveal how deliberate each choice was. A single measure might contain 5 layers of hand claps, 3 interlocking piano riffs, and a choir of Jacob singing close harmony clusters. Each group of tracks was routed to its own bass, drums, vocals, synths, so he could sculpt the mix like a painter, adding depth and shade. The result, a one-man orchestra captured in a bedroom, sounded as rich and detailed as a full studio production. For Collier, this was not just a technical trick. It was the only way to realize the sounds he heard in his head, a glimpse into a musical mind that organizes chaos into pure, intricate order. Pitch for Jacob Collier is not a fixed grid, it is a living spectrum. In his hands, a single note can bend and shimmer, drifting just above or below the keys most musicians are taught to trust. He is fascinated by microtones, those tiny intervals between the notes of a piano, often less than a quarter step apart. Instead of sticking to the 12 notes of equal temperament, Collier tunes chords by ear, sometimes shifting a pitch by just a few cents to catch the exact color he wants. Listen closely to his vocal bends in tracks like Moon River or Ocean Tides. Each harmony is tuned to the overtone series, not the textbook. Spectrograms of his mixes reveal clusters of frequencies that do not line up with the standard scale, creating a rainbow of sound that feels both familiar and otherworldly. Rhythm, too, is a playground. Collier layers grooves that slip and slide across each other, building polyrhythms where a 7-beat vocal riff might dance over a 5-beat piano loop. In live clips, he will stack a 13/8 metric modulation, letting each part resolve on its own terms. The result is a kind of musical kaleidoscope, patterns that repeat, overlap, and finally lock together in a way that feels inevitable but never predictable. His digital audio workstation becomes a grid for these experiments, with each track swinging to its own pulse, then snapping into place at the last possible moment. The Djesse project takes this even further. Across 3 volumes since 2018, Collier has used the series as a laboratory for scale, color, and rhythm. Djesse Volume 1 explores chamber textures with a 12-piece ensemble. Volume 2 dives into electronic manipulation and microtonal harmony, layering up to 20 tracks of vocals and modular synths. By Volume 3, the sessions have grown to include 30-piece orchestras and 50-track vocal stacks, all stitched together by Collier's ear for spectral tuning and polymetric groove. Each album is a new experiment, an open question about how far music can stretch before it snaps back into something entirely new. And with every project, more musicians are paying attention, wondering where the edge really lies. Quincy Jones reached out after seeing Collier's viral videos, offering mentorship and a place on his management roster. Soon, Herbie Hancock invited him on stage for live duets. Hans Zimmer brought him into the studio to co-produce textures for film scores. Coldplay tapped Collier for vocal arrangements on Higher Power, while Tori Kelly became a frequent collaborator, sharing Grammy-winning tracks. These partnerships weren't just for show, they became proof that Collier's ideas could stand shoulder to shoulder with the best in the business. Between 2017 and 2023, Collier collected 7 Grammy Awards, including wins for Best Arrangement and Best Contemporary Instrumental Album. Each accolade carried the weight of peer recognition. For musicians at the top, Collier wasn't just a curiosity, he was a creative force they wanted in the room, shaping the sound of contemporary music from the inside out. One Jacob Collier concert can turn 1,000 strangers into an instant choir. From 2019 to 2022, audiences in London, Boston, and Mexico City found themselves swept into his orbit, not as passive listeners, but as active collaborators. Whether at MIT Kresge Auditorium or Berklee College, Collier would step back from the microphone, raise his hands, and sculpt the crowd's voices into shimmering chords. 5,000 people sang as one on Witness Me, their harmonies captured in a viral video now watched over 1 million times. In masterclasses, he asks students to shape microtonal clusters or improvise polyrhythms, watching as their faces lit up with realization. These moments ripple outward. Young musicians post their own reharmonizations, teachers borrow his color of sound language, and classrooms around the world echo with Collier-inspired exercises. His ideas have become a living toolkit, passed from hand to hand, voice to voice, far beyond the concert hall. Today, Jacob Collier's influence shapes everything from TikTok harmonies to sold-out symphony halls. As new musicians chase the boundaries he's pushed, music itself keeps expanding. Genius isn't just rare, it's contagious. The future of sound is being rewritten, one note at a time. What would you explore next?